All right, today we are taking a deep dive into a really fascinating piece of financial technology, the OCC Data Vault. We're going to get into the incredible architecture that really underpins all of modern banking supervision. Seriously, this system changed the entire game for how regulators see and manage risk.
It all boils down to a really simple but massive question. Every single financial regulator, every bank supervisor out there is dealing with a literal tidal wave of data to do their job. But have you ever stopped to think, where does all of that information actually go? How on earth do you make sense of it all? Well, the answer is a system like this one, built from the ground up to be the single source of truth.
So, first things first, let's talk about the inputs. To really get what the vault is, you have to appreciate the sheer volume and, more importantly, the variety of information it's constantly swallowing. Think of it like a giant machine that needs a super diverse diet of data to function.
I mean, the scope of what feeds this thing is just staggering. We're not just talking about the standard regulatory filings like call reports. No way. The vault brings together everything. We're talking about the qualitative notes from examiners in the field, the raw data from every consumer complaint, and even broad market and macroeconomic feeds. This is how you build a truly holistic 360-degree view of the entire financial ecosystem.
And this is absolutely crucial. You've heard the saying, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Well, the OCC Data Vault is designed specifically to avoid that trap. Before any piece of data gets into the system for analysis, it goes through this rigorous process. It gets tagged for context, it's validated for accuracy, and it's versioned so you have a perfect audit trail. This is what builds the foundation of trust you need for supervision. It's non-negotiable.
Okay, so the data's in. It's clean. It's trustworthy. Now, let's pop the hood and see how this thing is actually built. This is the architecture that makes everything else possible. It's what turns all that raw data into a platform for real insight.
The architecture is just brilliantly layered. At the very bottom, you've got the data lake. Think of it as a massive reservoir holding every single piece of raw information. Then, sitting on top of that is the metadata layer, which is basically the system's card catalog. It tells you what every piece of data is and exactly where it came from. The analytics engines, well, that's the brain, running all the models and flagging potential risks. And finally, you have the examiner portals, which are the secure windows into this world, giving examiners the dashboards and tools they need.
And all of this leads to a really fundamental shift in thinking. The Data Vault isn't some dusty digital archive. It's what people in the field call Supervision as a Service. It's an active, living, breathing platform that gives examiners powerful tools on demand. It basically turns data storage from a boring necessity into a real strategic capability.
So, we've got this incredibly powerful, beautifully structured database. But what does it actually let an examiner do? This is where all that tech talk becomes real-world practice.
The first game-changing capability is instant context. An examiner can pull up any bank and, just like that, compare its key risk metrics against a whole group of its peers. This immediately shows you who's performing well, and more importantly, it flags any potential outliers that need a closer look.
And because every little piece of data is versioned, examiners can essentially hit rewind. It's like a time machine for risk. They can visualize how a specific risk, say credit exposure or liquidity, has changed at a bank over months or even years. This is how you spot those dangerous trends long before they blow up.
Now, when an automated alert flags some kind of anomaly, the Vault lets examiners go in with like surgical precision. They can go from a high-level dashboard view, click, and drill right down to the specific report or the specific finding that triggered the whole concern in the first place.
And this is the real power of a unified system. Is this new issue maybe related to a finding from 5 years ago? The Vault connects those dots automatically. It creates a complete institutional memory so that crucial information never, ever falls through the cracks again.
Now, a system this sophisticated doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. Its development is a story about solving a very, very real problem. A problem that became painfully obvious to everyone after the 2008 financial crisis.
Before a system like this, critical information was trapped in all these separate, disconnected databases. We call them silos. The modernization effort was all about breaking down those walls. It's been a journey from that fragmented past to the unified, cloud-based, and intelligent soup tech platform we see today, one that's scalable, secure, and totally searchable.
So, when you put all these pieces together, what does it all really mean? What does it represent? Well, it represents a fundamental change in the very idea of what supervision is.
And this right here, this is the core idea. While an examiner's expert judgment is always going to be vital, modern supervision is built on a technological foundation. The quality of the oversight you can provide is now directly tied to the quality of the data architecture that's supporting it.
So, the crucial thing to remember is this. Behind every sharp question from an examiner, behind every rating change, and behind every enforcement action, there's this incredible database working in the background. It's the silent partner, providing all the comprehensive evidence needed to make those tough, informed decisions.
And that kind of leaves us with a fascinating question for the future, doesn't it? As technology gets even better at capturing and analyzing all this information, we're moving closer to a world where every single potential risk becomes a quantifiable data point. So, what does supervision even look like then? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.